Hi, it's Josephine from the Pointe shop. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm fitting at the Legacy Ballet Academy, and I'm fitting Isabella today. This is the second time we're doing a pointe shoe fitting together, and she has one of the narrowest feet I've ever seen. There's a lot of problems with pointe shoes when it comes to really narrow feet because it's just really hard to find shoes that fit your feet, right? So it's actually great because a lot of pointe shoes, they have a lot of different widths, but there's certain models and brands that have even narrower models, so we're going to just stick to those today. So a couple things that happen when your feet are too narrow is that you can sink, so your toes can really press on the floor, so that can really hurt. It can also be really baggy even if the length fits, so sometimes the shoes look too big even if the shoes fit lengthwise, it's just too wide, so it just doesn't look as good. So we want to make sure that everything looks really streamlined, and if you fit a narrow foot very well, then it makes your feet look really pretty and your legs look really pretty because it just looks like the extension of your feet. So she has one long big toe and then it slants really sharply. So if you don't have a shoe that's tapered enough or narrow enough, it's definitely going to jam on her big toe. So we want to make sure that everything is being supported on the side so that it is narrow enough. Okay, so go ahead and put your toe pads on. So what we did last time when I was here was I immediately gave her a spacer to put on between her first and second toe so that it kind of widens her toes a little bit. I'm almost giving her like a sixth toe, and that's because she has a gap between her first and second toe, and if the shoe is on her foot, then it's going to slant her big toe in and it's going to put a lot of pressure on her bunion. So I put that spacer in there to just kind of straighten out her big toe, and I'm going to show you a regular shoe. So this is a width 1 in a regular pointe shoe, but as you can see it's a little bit rounder here, so I'm going to have her try this on first and you'll see, and luckily Isabella likes her shoes a little bit tighter. So if you don't like your shoes really tight, then it's going to look baggy no matter what. So it's a good thing that her preference is that she likes her shoes a little bit tighter. I can actually put my finger between the shoe and her foot because she's so shallow, even though this is a really narrow shoe. And this is the correct length from her big toe all the way to the heel. Bring your left foot up on pointe. But you can see when she went up on pointe, she sank down all the way to the bottom. Do you feel your big toe? So she already feels her big toe like pressing down because there's no support on the side because it's just not narrow enough for you. So a lot of dancers that have really narrow feet, this is very common, and it looks like it's huge, even though the length actually fits when she's flat. Can you go up on pointe really quickly? So even though she has really pretty feet, it just looks like it's just huge on her because the shoes are too wide, even in a width 1. We're going to try a slightly different model. So now keep in mind that the shoe that I'm going to try on her is the same exact size and the same exact width. So this is still width 1. Come down for me, but you'll see that there's a lot less bagginess. And more than what it looks like, it just feels a lot more comfortable. You can take that off. Even though these didn't look terrible on her feet, it probably doesn't feel very good when you dance for a long time. So let's put that on, same size and same width, but just a different model. And this is the big difference. Now there's a little bit more struggle putting it on because there's a little bit more resistance. When you put on your pointe shoes, it shouldn't slide in like a bedroom slipper. It should have some resistance going on. Okay, stand up for me. So she's still in a size 39, demi-plie. Is it pressing anywhere? And sometimes the shoes may feel a little bit too short, even if the length is correct, because her foot is sliding to the end of the shoe. Straighten, bring the left foot up on pointe. Now there's no space between the shoe and her foot, so there's nothing that I can put my finger in between. Step up onto both, and now there's nothing gaping. So she's not sinking down anymore, she's lifted. Is there any pressure on your big toe?
No.
Okay, good. So there's no pressure on her big toe anymore. She's just lightly touching the floor, which is exactly where I want her to be. You shouldn't feel like you're sliding down and your toenails just starting to press on the floor because we want you to be nice and lifted and nothing's like bruising or hurting or blistering. Cross it into fifth position. Can you beret for me? And she's nice and lifted even though she's doing the berets. She's not sliding down. Her big toe feels great. So I think we're gonna stick with this shoe. So Isabella doesn't have a lot of choices, only because there's not a lot of models and manufacturers that make shoes this narrow, but luckily we have a few, so we're gonna stick with those, and luckily she looks good in pretty much anything that she wears because of her pretty feet. So we're gonna stick with these shoes. If you feel like you have unusual feet, if your feet are a little bit too narrow or too wide or too compressive, whatever it may be, if you have problems on Pointe, leave that on your comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will chat soon. Bye.